we've been talking about the husband and wife relationship and how important communication is. God shows and demonstrates His love for us, that He communicated that love through sending Jesus to come to this earth and to live and show us that great and mighty love. And so communication is at the very center and the key of God's love for us. In any good relationship, whether it's in business, whether it's in family, whatever it might be, in the church, there's got to be good communication. When the communication breaks down, the relationship breaks down. And so we want to continue talking and really focus on communication. And I want us to be really practical in this time of visiting about communication and just talk about what enables communication. What's one thing, Tex, you and I share, what's one thing that enables good communication?
I think ongoing communication enables that. If there's blocks, sometimes if we don't, like every day, we try to spend some time together and just share what our day's been like, and the good, the bad, the ugly, just things that have gone on. And so time to me would be one that is really important. And even at night, one thing that we've done over the years is whenever we go to bed at night, we hold hands and we pray for our families, for our grandkids, for people that we know. And I think even that form of communication of just holding hands and praying together, that's a form of communication that's been real special over the years.
Yeah, because we're taking the things that are close to our hearts and we're bringing them to the Lord, and that enables it. You said something that for me I think is really important and been to me one of the best things, and that is that we've taken time over the years. One of the things that has helped us more than anything else is take time. There was a time when we used to walk together. That time has passed. But we used to walk together, and during those times we would talk. Now we as people can see, I'm not walking a meeting, so so we go out and we eat together, and we just get away. Sometimes, even when we were doing some filming for this, at another time I called you and said, honey, I just need to talk. I'm just, I'm burnt out and I need to talk. And so you met me and we got away and you just listened and that was so helpful to me to be able to, that time is critically important. And then what you said about not letting the little things break down, because little things can add up to big things, and before you know it, you're not talking at all.
It's kind of like a flower bed. I mean, we have a flower bed in our front yard. It's supposed to be a flower bed. There's a lot of weeds that grow up into it, and those weeds choke out the flowers and the beauty of the garden. And so I think that's where it's important for us to take that time to communicate. And like with a flower garden, you take the weeds out so the flowers can bloom.
So those things that hinder it, and normally it's me.
It works both ways.
But there are things that we have to say, okay, let's deal with these things. What about you guys? What helps you to communicate?
Yeah, I think what y'all said is important, that to take those little pockets of time you have throughout the day. The stage of life we're in, as Kelly said, we have one in high school or secondary school and one in junior high and then one in elementary or primary school. And it's just, life is so busy. And unless you're really intentional about it, getting those little pockets when you're driving the car or in bed or whenever, days can pass and you can have communicated logistics and everything else, but you really haven't connected the two hearts. And I think another thing on top of that is being intentional about creating spaces and places where, like what you were saying, going out to eat or what we call date night, going out to different places, and the attention is just all on each other and the heart, not about the kids, not about what we got to do or to-do list or all that kind of stuff. It's all about each other, enjoying each other, connecting with each other, seeing what's stirring within our hearts and minds, asking those questions, and just being there for each other. And then another good thing is, if you do travel some or if you do go to another place, it's good. Sometimes you can go somewhere and you can be changed. And whenever you can, I think it's good to have your spouse with you, just because they can experience the same thing you've experienced, and there's just that depth of connection that happens there. So if you have good grandparents that can watch your kids every once in a while, then
well, yes, you guys have a tough life. Huh?
no,
That's a
then
blessing.
you can.
It's huge.
I think it's vital for.
I was gonna say with that, I guess it's different than that, but also learning how to fight. I think I can think about how we used to fight and how we've grown in that, and the importance of addressing issues instead of just sweeping it under the rug or pretending it didn't happen, just getting up the next morning and going on with your day, because it just builds resentment and disconnect, I think, as time goes on. So I think we've learned the importance of kind of hashing things out and working through it, and it's best for our communication.
I think that's what Tex was talking about, part of what Tex was talking about, the weeds in the garden. That those weeds grow up and you don't deal with them, and you have to learn how to deal with those things in a good way. Another thing and I'm going to go back to this thing of time. I had something happen, years ago. I think y'all remember, it was right during Thanksgiving time that the doctor said I had to be quiet for 2 weeks. I couldn't say one word, and all of y'all in the family had a great revival because I couldn't say anything. But anyway, Tex and I took a week and we went to the Grand Canyon, and I just had to be quiet, and it was just a great experience for me. I mean, just be still and know that He is God, and just come into His presence. It was just wonderful. But it was such a great experience. I wanted my brother, who has never really traveled, never gone anywhere, I wanted him to see the Grand Canyon. And I thought this would be so I called him and said, look, I'll fly you there to Phoenix. We'll meet. I'll take you out the Grand Canyon. We'll spend a couple days there, the Grand Canyon. It's just incredibly beautiful and wonderful. And went there, and you know what? He could have cared less about the Grand Canyon. What he enjoyed the most was just having the time with me. And boy, the Lord just spoke to my heart through that how critically important that is. That's kind of off our subject here, but I really think it's a part of the whole communication process. What about something real quick? What keeps us from doing that, from having that time, from not being able to work through those issues, from allowing those weeds? I think I've already alluded to one thing, busyness. But anything else, or you want to go back to that? Or what is a hindrance to our communication?
I think when you, and we've touched on this a little earlier, but I just want to emphasize it. When you see your wife or your husband the way that God sees them, when you see them as this mysterious, amazing creation that has the image of God on the inside of them, communication will take care of itself. Because when you lose the mystery, when you lose just the realization that this person is an amazing creation of God that He's allowed me to be with for the rest of my life, when you lose that perspective, then that's when everything else starts to crumble around you. And so to me, there's a perspective thing of God, help me to have eyes to see Kelly as you see her, because He sees her as this amazing woman that He's created and doing wonderful things in. And so I think that would be at the top of my list.
As a gift. I mean, that you're God's gift to me in order that I can become part of who I am too. So we don't look at it as what you're saying, you look at it as in the positive.
So if there's something that you would say that we need to do, one thing quickly, just one quick thing to enable communication, what would you say?
Encourage.
Encouragement. Okay.
My main thing would just be to ask God to give us eyes to see our spouse as He sees them.
And take time to see their perspective too, not just your own.
So let's close on that and say that just begin to look at your spouse and with the eyes of God, that God has given you this person. We began with talking about creation, and the person that you are married to, God has given that person to you, and you to that person as a gift, and appreciating the gift that God has given. It's the gift of His own image, and being an encouragement to that person, and grow. Remember that you'll never have it perfect. You're always growing in this relationship. Never forget that.